Isn't that what Mola Ram says when he's getting ready to pull out somebody's heart in Temple of Doom?
Don't
Florem ipsum.
Don't give out our secret plan, Dungeon Delver.
We're Ivlay.
Good afternoon, acolytes. Welcome to the February in the middle of the deep freeze meeting of the Nerd Council of Doom for the year 2026. It has been a cold one.
Mm-hmm.
I have managed to put all the Wampa back in their caves. It was close for a while. I don't want to talk about the microwave incident. Let's just move on from that. Dungeon Minister, how goes the fight in the even colder north?
Well, my Tauntaun died before I reached the first marker.
Hmm.
So I didn't get very far. No, it's been a cold. I have a very, very sore back from shoveling and from walking on snow all the time. You go out our door and you actually have to go up to get to the level of where you're walking, because you're walking a good foot and a half above the ground on packed down snow. We've gotten really socked this year. So, and on one side of the house, the sun never hits, so it never melts. Well, it does eventually in spring, but it stays for the longest time. So yeah, we go out of the door and up and walk along. What normally is a step down has become a step up. So yeah, we're cold. And I'm in pain. But other than that, oh, and I forgot my collar. I'm out of uniform. Good heavens. Look away.
He's got to put the collar of evil resistance +3 back on. There we go.
Yes.
Hello, Yorkshire Matt. Hello, Studio TPK.
I thought that was a little square that just velcroed on. That's what I know.
Mr. Dickey.
Welcome everyone to the meeting. Please sign the guest book down below with the thumbs up button and sign your name into our charter by clicking the subscribe button. You will, for sure, not suffer the same fate as the rest. We are considering forcing everyone to watch Starfleet Academy. But if you are a member of the Nerd Council of Doom, we of course will not force that upon you.
I don't know. I think that's monstrous, even for three dorks hell-bent on taking over the planet.
Cruel and unusual punishment.
They created the means of their own destruction. Dungeon Delver, how goes the fight in the gassy, gator-filled swamps of the south?
Well, I have regained control of the parabolic mirror and directed some sunlight back down here, so it is no longer bitter cold. It has returned to Florida temperate. Down here, things are. Hey, look, man, 29 degrees is 29 degrees.
29. Man, that's shorts weather. I'm ready to pull out the grill at 29 degrees.
Yankees. Anyway, so and a Yankee and somebody from America's hat. But anyway, it's doing well down here. It's doing very well. We are proceeding, of course, with Plan 23. But so far we have not been able to teach the alligators to skateboard yet. So it's going slowly.
It's tough learning. I suggest more bath salts.
Yes.
It just went there.
See,
right.
Look, Vincent knows what's up. I'm heading to the beach at 29.
Goodness.
No, Dungeon Delver. You cannot open the lava pit for him.
Oh, well.
So, gentlemen, what news have we for the month?
Well, I was going to just share a little bit about some things I'd drawn attention to earlier. The Rise of Merlin, the TV show that is being done by the Daily Wire, and early stuff out of it looked pretty good. I think I did mention at one point the initial episode, or maybe the second episode. It's the initial episode. There was some CGI that was cringe-worthy bad. But other than that, I would say the production level is pretty good. I mean, it's not late season Game of Thrones good, but the writing is much better than eighth season Game of Thrones. I'll say that. It's based on the Lawhead Pendragon cycle books, and I never read them, and now I'm trying to find them, and they're like hen's teeth. So I'm trying to track some down, but it is a fantasy series that is hopeful, right? I mean, it doesn't have the sort of dire grit and everyone's destined for death kind of feel that Game of Thrones certainly had. It doesn't have the sort of chaotic nihilism that, say, Vikings, which isn't fantasy, but it's fantasy history because half of it is terribly fantastic. But it doesn't have that kind of sort of, chaotic evil edge to it. But it's fun. Now, it's not... the acting is uneven. There are some people in it, Merlin, for instance, Karis, Taliesin, who are pretty dang good, actually, quite good. And then there's some folks who used to get like it's somebody's cousin, who got a role. But the effects are good. The production design is good. It suffers from what a lot of shows do of the mumbling Englishman. My wife and I used to be like, "Oh, it's an English show. Turn up the volume. Because what?" And in this case, it's I'm being very intense and very down here. So there's some of that. And I've got 3 kids, so watching it with them, sometimes I'm like, I'm trying to follow the plot. They're just waiting for the next battle scene. But no, it's been surprisingly good. It has been surprisingly good and interesting. Now, I know some people's reaction to it is, "Oh, Daily Wire." Nope. It's a subscription service like anything else. You subscribe, you're going to pay money to something, and generally you're subscribing because there's 1 or 2 shows that you want to watch and you don't watch the rest of it. But and I find it funny. The Daily Wire gets attacked from left and right, which is funny. But it for the niche it's filling, I think it's doing quite a good job of it. It's an interesting show. Yeah. We're 5 shows in now, I think 4 or 5 shows in now. And one of the disorienting things about the beginning of the series is that it told the plot in flashbacks and bits and pieces. You didn't get, here's the backstory. There was no prologue like Lord of the Rings, that just laid it all out for you. And so you get these bits and pieces, and it felt very chaotic. But as the show progresses, the bits and pieces start to fall into place, and you go, "Oh, okay, that's the history there. That's the history here." It does suffer. The other thing it suffers is what Touchberry, my middle guy, said, is that all of the kings look the same. It's all beard, long hair, strangely elaborate robes. That's the king. They all kind of look the same. And they do. Once he said that, it's like, yeah, what kingdom are we in now? Because all the kings look the same. The kingdoms look different, but the kings all look the same. Anyway.
They saw that Bernard Hill as Theoden look in the Lord of the Rings movies and were like, do that. Just Control-C, Control-V over and over again.
But longer hair, darker clothing, and then you got it. Yes. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, well, they could probably only afford one wig and one beard. It's like,
just
all right, we got to reuse it.
passing it around.
Yeah.
Oh, Gerald wore it last. It stinks. Ugh.
Yeah.
Not
Go
to
easy on the spirit gun, guys. We got 3 people got to wear this today.
not to step on your toes. I did watch the first episode.
Yep.
And it was surprisingly good.
Oh.
It gave me, and I don't mean this in a negative way, it kind of gave me like Hercules the Legendary Journey or Xena Warrior Princess vibes. But if those shows had more budget and better graphics,
Yeah.
yeah. But I liked it overall. I was a little bit confused because I was supposed to be, as you were saying, by like, okay, how does this piece fit here and that piece fit there? But I think by the end of the first episode, you kind of see that they are linked because we see like what seems to be ancient Atlantis with what might be a bull god.
Yes. Yes.
And
Definitely.
then I liked how we saw what seemed to be medieval England, I guess, or maybe
Early
early England.
medieval. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking pre-Saxon.
Yes.
Romans pulling out,
Yeah, and there was some evil god there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
That was creepy. That kind of
Yeah.
pre-Celtic, the horned god. That really was creepy and well done. I think that was pretty cool.
And then they do bring in a chapel
Yes.
that is worshiping Jesus. So unlike a lot of so the Daily Wire does get a lot of criticism, and I think in a lot of cases rightly so, for a lot of their scripted entertainment, which has been like too heavy on one side or the other. But at least from the first episode, not that I'm saying they're like being like, well, pagan worship's the same as Christianity, but like they seem to be introducing it into a world where it's very vibrant with a lot of things. It's not like today's world where it's like Christianity or not, or maybe Islam or maybe Buddhist or something. Like there's a lot of everything going around.
There is, and I think they give a good deal of respect to sort of pre-Christian pagan Britain. It isn't written off as, oh, well, they're wholly terrible, because even that horned god, who was really quite creepy and scary, was earlier still from the Druids, who were like, this is something that is primal and deep, and the Druidic religion was like later than that, right? So it doesn't have quite that dismissiveness to it. Interestingly, I think, just professionally speaking, I think culturally we're coming back more to a place like Britain as the Romans withdrew and things, become chaotic, and we don't quite understand who's actually in charge. The rules-based order has been gone for some time. I think we're recognizing it more than making it happen. And the religious scene is a whole pastiche now. I live where you live, maybe not. Where I live in the Greater Toronto area, and so there's every religion on the planet has got a big old temple or something around the corner, kind of thing. So it's becoming more like this sort of mix of stuff, and you're back in a less certain world, which I think is why it speaks. I think, touching on what you said earlier about some of their other scripted stuff, it's probably because they didn't script it themselves. They took someone else's story and adapted, right? So it's not like they're coming up with all of the tropes and all of the world themselves. They're having to bring in the source material, which is keeping them, somewhat less Sununos. Yes, thank you. Something less dogmatic, perhaps.
Yes, I agree. And in a nod to something the Dungeon Delver would like, the bard is not just a horny goofball who sings.
No, he does sing.
I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah,
I
he
definitely appreciate that.
that's something that I would have liked to see. So there's this bard Taliesin, who is a historical figure. Apparently, he's in a lot of early manuscripts and is referred to. They obviously Lawhead fictionalizes him, but there are points where Taliesin sings, and the power of his song and the power of his story is supposed to just really grab people. I could have used a little bit of special effect emphasis to show that, like, and it doesn't have to be, it shouldn't be CGI. It should just be a fan, to blow some hair a little bit, some lighting change, just something to make it. And I'm thinking of that moment when Arwen is having that vision, and then she just backs out, and there's that intake of breath as she backs away from this vision that her father's sort of laying out for her. And it's this stunning moment, and it's really just simple camera work. It's nothing huge. A bit more of that, because the problem is when you say that your bard is the finest bard the world has ever or will ever know, that his words can melt hearts and open minds. When you say this, you are giving your actor a hell of a lot to carry. And this poor guy is like, okay, I have to sing this with enough passion to melt the heart of an angry king. Oh boy, that's a heck of a thing to lay on a guy. I think a little tech help would have been appreciated.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. It doesn't have to be. For those of you who may not be fans of his but Robert Rodriguez in his remake of, and it really was kind of a remake but sequel but not but was of El Mariachi, but there's a scene where knives are flying past Salma Hayek, and they're supposed to be going really quickly past her. Well, obviously they're not going to throw knives past Salma Hayek's head.
No, you do not risk messing up that face. Do not risk messing up that face.
You do not. No, you do not. But the knives were CGI. However, to get her hair to blow back, it was literally a tech lying on his back, holding his arm up so it was about waist height, and with a can of computer cleaner air. Just so when he calls action, the guy just, and it blew her hair past a couple of times.
Yeah.
That's what they did. There's the famous story about Jim Cameron insisting, demanding his CGI team composite a scene where in the Titanic a character's running past and there's steam billowing out. He's like, and we're going to do this with you. And at that time in 1996 or whenever they were filming it, they were like, we don't have the tech really to do that. And he got very angry and very dogmatic. No, we're going to do this. We're not going to do some stupid, people are going to point and say, oh, that's dry ice or whatever. And what they ended up doing was, without his, they said, okay, all right, we'll take care of this. And they composited the scene together, but the steam billowing out that had to be CGI perfect were CO2 fire extinguishers. they literally just had guys standing off camera, hitting them in the right to get the steam pulses out. And they showed the daily to him from Lightstorm or wherever it was. And he was like, well, you see, it can be done.
Now that's CGI.
Yeah, exactly. But the point being, not to get too off track on CGI, the point being, yes, to showrunners of Merlin, you can have effects. You don't have to blow the budget on a bunch of powerful workstations.
Yeah,
you can do practical stuff. Literally lighting.
Yes,
lighting. Just light somebody from below with a little soft yellow light bulb.
And you don't even have to go full Highlander with it.
Guy with a leaf blower just off screen.
Yeah, that can work. You know,
My-
that can work.
My heart is moved. You may stay with your people.
Anyway, so that's I mean that's Rise of Merlin. I would, you know, if someone is looking for a good sci-fi, not sci-fi, fantasy series and interested in the topic, I'd go for it. If you're violently opposed to Daily Wire's politics, then don't, but this show doesn't have those politics. This show isn't that, right? It is an overtly Christian world that is being created because that historically is what happened in Britain. But it is, as Yang was pointing out, it's well done. It's not like, club you over the head with Jesus, right?
Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, a lot of times when I hear like Christian media or conservative media, my innate position is,
yeah. Well, and it so many like stories of the Bible kind of things are so cringe. And then The Chosen came out a little while ago and was actually a good show. It's a show about the disciples of Jesus, right? The Chosen, and it was actually, the production levels were good, the acting was good, and so it kind of broke the mold of, well, if we're going to do something that has Jesus in it, it either has to be, really bloody Mel Gibson or extremely cringe and feel like it was made by the guys at your church, on a Saturday.
Yeah, and if you go back into Hollywood history, there were plenty of Christian light movies, through the 50s and 60s. 10 Commandments, I watch that every time it's on the air. Ben-Hur, there's all sorts of films like that even though they were about Christian themes, they weren't like super heavy-handed.
Well, and it was a world in which you could assume the Christian story and then just tell a story. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean, that's the other thing is, one is recognizing that it's a movie first, and that you have to be entertained first. And God help us if we are now on 10 episode or 20 episode series. It's got to be entertaining all the way through, which is something Game of Thrones apparently forgot. You don't have to use cheap tricks. You don't have to have dwarves and prostitutes like Game of Thrones. You could just have like decent storylines and kind of know where you're going with it. Part of the other problem that I have with a lot of Netflix and Amazon series is like season 1 will be good because they know the season, they know what's going on, and then it's like, oh crap, we got renewed, now we have to think of something else. But you kind of ended it, definitely. At least with this so far, it seems to me that I don't know if they necessarily have like a hard ending in line, but it is season 1, so my prediction might come true. But it seems like they kind of know where they're going with it, so that if it does continue on season 2, whatever, it's got somewhere to go naturally.
Yeah, well, because there's a series of books. Apparently, this is the first 2 books, kind of Taliesin and Rise of Merlin, of the Merlin. It's mostly a material from those. So, and I guess I gather the Taliesin material is kind of the first couple of episodes was the whole Taliesin book. So I don't know how far into the myth this first season will go, but Rise of the Merlin suggests it's not going to go on to Arthur.
And so Padre, as our resident father of younger children, what would you give this in a watchability score? Like, clearly teens should be fine, but
teens are fine. So all 3 of my boys, my youngest Bob Johnny's 11, and we would have watched this years ago too. There are battles, there's violence, but it's not gratuitous. I mean, it's not. It doesn't pull punches either. It's not like G.I. Joe where they jump out of the tank before it explodes. Very few tanks anyway in the story, but it's there is violence. There's but it's never gratuitous. There's not. It's certainly not Game of Thrones. There's not going to be flapping breasts. Just suddenly cut. Whoa. Where you're like, not even time to get the hand over the kid's face.
Yeah.
Oh, I ain't watching it.
All three of them are in therapy now. No, not really.
That's the European version.
Yes. But so in terms of a family thing, it's completely watchable. It is. There's even a bit where they're like, there's about to be a sex scene, and they hang on, let's wait until we're married, which is like, okay, that's refreshing after 8 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and I bet they're not even brother and sister.
No, totally different people.
I it being the Daily Wire, though, I do kind of have to wonder. I mean, what one of the contributors to the Daily Wire, if you guys don't, not you guys, but if anyone out there in the audience doesn't really know it, is a rather dour fellow by the name of Matt Walsh. Now, I'm not. I'm not going to go down the avenue of talking about Matt Walsh and what he thinks about every little thing, but he has he is quite on record that he does not like fanciful. He does that like he's basically like don't have fun. Yeah. If you play video games, if just what's wrong with you? You should be, that's time you could be outside chopping wood and preparing your survival garden.
He is a young curmudgeon.
Matt, unclench.
Yes.
Yeah. He is a young curmudgeon. So I do kind of wonder, it's like,
we're
doing a fantasy TV.
Yeah, he's not involved. It's all pretty much out. They're the producer, the production company, but it's all kind of. He's not writing any episodes, nor is he acting.
Right. No, I understand that. I just can't. I just can't get over the idea that he's just like hate stares at his computer. My impression of Matt Walsh is that he does use a computer has been forced on him, but he has a CRT monitor. The computer is beige. The monitor is beige.
That matrix printer.
He just and it's out in a shed. It's out in a shed beside the house. And he's
exactly.
In that room.
Exactly. I'm the only one allowed to use the Computertron. Everyone, he has a mobile phone, but it's a flip phone. It's like one of the original Motorola clamshell phones from the late 1990s. But I just this must have scandalized him. What, you guys are making a fantasy TV show like for grown-ups? Anyway, I'll stop going on about that now.
No, I do. Whenever he has to promote in one of his videos, he has to promote something else that the Daily Wire is doing. You could tell he becomes automatic. Like he's just, and of course you want to watch the wonderful fantasy series, The Rise of the Merlin. Not into it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, all I have to say to that is Matt, unclench.
Yeah.
Well, I guess switching gears a little bit into what I'm sure must be Matt Walsh's favorite topic.
Nice segue.
In addition to things that surprisingly I'm not going to complain about this week, is Freeren Season 2. So for anyone who does not know, Freeren is an anime, and it's essentially the story of an elf, and she was part of this party that I don't know, 100 years ago or so, fought the Demon King, and they brought peace and prosperity back to the land. And like 100 years later, she sort of impromptu gets another party to travel with, and half the story is her being nostalgic about her time with her first party. And there's a love interest that she didn't realize the guy loved her, but he's a human, so he's dead, and now she can't do anything about it. And she's got like the purple haired disciple of one of her friends. She was an orphan who orphaned in these demon wars, and her friend, who was a priest, took her in, and then, hey, can you make her your apprentice? And then the red hair guy is a disciple of the dwarf that they traveled with. I originally did not want to watch this show. I thought it looked stupid. And I think one day I was just really bored, and I still had my Netflix account. So I said, well, okay, I'll check it out. And it's actually amazing. It's not like a lot of anime that's just like fight, let's level up, fight more, time to level. It's actually a really nice journey over someone's life where, now this elf in the center there, Free Ren, she's sort of in a mentorship role, and she's helping out these two younger people. And it's her, wistfully thinking about like, oh, I came on this path before with my old friends, and she clearly does not want to, when it starts, she does not necessarily want to be in this new party, and does not want to do the same things again, because there's a bit of nostalgia and a bit of sadness over what happened with the last time, which we find out as the series goes along. And it turns out that demons might be back. And that's sort of where we pick up with season 2. It's great because it's very slow with world building the lore, and it's much more atmospheric than I think a lot of anime are. It slowly builds up this fantasy world, which could be your Dungeons and Dragons campaign. What if your characters sort of continued on after your campaign ended, and now they're sort of maybe picking up a second chance at life. So overall, it is fantastic. There has been a bit of controversy in that the demons are absolute evil, and they have zero redeeming qualities. There's an episode of the show where it explains why Free Ren kills them at every single chance she gets. And it's because demons will admit, like, yeah, we don't have feelings. We just want to eat people. And that, they'll say the words. They'll be like, oh, mommy, please don't let this evil elf hurt me. And then the demons will admit, like, yeah, we don't know what that means. We don't have any emotions that go with that. We just know that it makes humans stop, and it gives us a chance to kill them. So a lot of people have freaked out over that, that you could have a race that is 100% evil. But there we are.
They're demons.
I know.
Demons. Of course they're evil.
It has been on my to watch list for a while now. And yes, the people freaking out about it and taking the sides of demons and saying, how dare you say that, has been hilarious to watch.
Yes.
It's like when it's like when you see people talking about how bad the Terran forces are. Now look, versus the book, I really, really don't like Starship Troopers. But I get the memes and I get the general vibe. And it's like when people post up and talk about how bad the Terran forces are in Starship Troopers, I'm like, have you seen what they're fighting? Have you seen
bugs.
what they're fighting?
They're literal
These are
bugs.
literal insects that want to do nothing other than scour the galaxy of everything that's not them and eat it. Yes, it is us versus them. But in the case of Freeran, yeah, it's, you know, it's like Yank says, they are irredeemably evil. They are a different, it's not just a different these aren't people with a different mindset. They are different organisms. Their brains, albeit magical brains, their brains don't function the way ours do. They're just like the bugs in Starship Troopers. They don't see a person and go, oh, but you know, I could reach on some level with that. They're food.
Yeah, it's blank slate theory taken to a completely ridiculous place. To say, you know, well, you know, the bugs are people too. No, they're bugs. There's a wonderful bit in the King Kong movie, the one with was it Jack Black was in that?
Oh, yeah.
When they fall down to some chasm at the bottom of it, there's this swampy area, and the insects, these giant insects, come out. I think it was the most unsettling scene I've ever seen in a movie. It has haunted me ever since, because the bugs go after them, and it is just, there's no mercy, there's no softness, there's no, oh, maybe I'll eat this. Even the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, even the velociraptors were like, huh? Looks tasty. You know, these they just consume. It's all they do. And it is terrifying. They're bugs. To me, the people who then look at the bugs in Starship Troopers or demons and say, oh, that's just so horrible, you're using them as a stand-in for this other group. I think, how do you see that group of human beings that you think these demons are a stand-in for them? Like, that's
it goes back to when people were flipping out about, you know, oh, well, orcs in D&D are racially coded to this. If you look at an orc and then look at some marginalized group and go, you guys are the same. Buddy, I'm not the racist, okay? That ain't me.
And sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, one of the first interactions as far as streaming together that Dungeon Minister and I had was about the question of redemption and you know, can something with identifiably a soul or spirit find a degree of salvation? That's not what's being presented in the demons in Freeran. They're not people who secretly want to do good or have the capacity to do good. They don't want to because they can't, because it doesn't even occur to them. So I'm sorry, Yang, please go on.
Oh, no. I was just going to mention that the whole orcs are black people, which was before orcs became Mexican, debate was right around the time when Freerun Season 1 came out. I don't want to say it started then, but it was a big flashpoint at that time. So I think that's why a lot of people flipped out, because these people in Japan sort of came up with exactly the opposite cultural answer to it. That just happened to be at the same time. I don't think it was, for culture wars, whatever. It was just part of this world.
They're just telling a story.
Yeah.
They're not trying. Yeah. They're not trying to associate the demons with any group that they'd like to demonize.
Yeah.
And it is interesting because in a lot of media, we have seen the opposite. So there was a Netflix series, Devil May Cry, where which I believe is from a video game, which I have not played. But the point of the show was, I'm not sure how America finds a portal to hell, and America's like, yeah, let's take that land over, which Okay. But then all the demons are like poor, they're like Native American analogies where America is destroying the demons' home world to committing genocide to take it over, which is like, okay, it's a little too far. I don't necessarily think you want to compare the Shoshone to demons, but you do you. But at least in Free Run, like it's the distinction between human or humanoid and I has a soul or has the capacity for good is very clearly differentiated from what are demons in this world.
Right.
Well, it's been on my to watch list for a while now, and I definitely want to give it a look soon.
Yeah, I think we're 5 episodes into season 2. And another thing on the children-o-meter. I personally think this is absolutely a great watch for, teenagers for sure, maybe down to like 10 or 8, depending on the maturity of your kid. There is no real nudity, although being from a country, being from Japan, they often take rest stops at hot springs where, you go in naked, but there's no naughty bits shown. There is light romance where the redheaded character and that purple-headed character, they sort of seem to be developing feelings for each other, but neither of which know how to like behave in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. And that doesn't mean they go hog wild and play hide the salami. That just means like they're very awkward around each other in a cute and endearing way.
So they're Gen Z then, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
they have no idea how to be in a relationship.
Yes,
they're not having sex. They're just being weird around each other. It's Gen Z.
Yeah, exactly. And they're asking the 100 and some year old grandma who has never been in a relationship either for dating advice, which makes for hilarity. But there is absolutely nothing inappropriate. It's one of the Japanese animes that's like, oh, that's so cute. So even your becoming hormonal teens or preteens, they could watch it and there are no naughty bits to tempt them into evil thoughts.
They'll be saying, why isn't there some skin in this show? What's going on?
Yeah.
I have to say, it's just a personal thing. The elves with the ears out straight, I have never dug that. I don't get it, but that's me.
Yeah,
that's just an aesthetic choice on my part.
I hear what you're saying.
Used to it.
And I have to agree with you actually, and it like brings up like things that I don't like in Japanese anime and things that I kind of don't like in current D&D. It's like once something is popularized, like it becomes entrenched, and that's kind of the default way. So just like you see elves with ears like that, and you unfortunately have I just forgot the name. The demon people. Help me out here, Dungeon Delver, in Dungeons and Dragons. But all the kids want to play. Tieflings. Thank you.
No, tieflings. Okay.
Once those became sort of standardized, like now it's just everybody assumes it's part of it.
Yeah. My only thing with the tieflings, because I find the whole kind of like, I'm broken and nobody likes me. I want to play that character, But the tiefling in the recent Dungeons and Dragons movie was really cute. So, you have that.
Yeah. But she is part demon, so
part demon.
Well, and again, that goes back to, I mean, D&D demons and free reign demons are different creatures altogether. Yes. And Dungeon Minister and I have again, we've talked about, is a demon that really, really wants to be redeemed and has undergone an alignment change able to be for whatever value you want to give salvation in a fantasy setting, can they achieve salvation? But that's a whole different discussion.
Yeah.
So sort of related to free rent, I'm kind of curious about where you guys think anime and manga in general are headed. So we have, for the last 10 years or so, there has been a lot of international pressure coming from companies like MasterCard and Visa to try to assimilate, I guess you'd say, Japanese anime into Western norms. They've tried to get a lot of the violence toned down. And if you watch a lot of the anime now that is aimed at adults versus like the 80s and 90s, way less gore. You don't see nearly the amount of naughty bits. There used to be a fairly healthy animated porno industry, which you don't see as much now. But a lot of
largely involving tentacles, from what I understand.
Yes. There's a reason why the Japanese are famous.
I hadn't heard that. Wait, back up. I hadn't heard that there, Padre. How did you know about this? I'm a little concerned.
Whole class in it at seminary, whole semester.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah, Brother Devil,
clearly I chose the wrong calling.
Why don't you Google that while we're talking?
Sure, I'll just share some stuff up on
Don't share the screen.
But it's more than that. There's also sort of like Western norms. You have a lot of like politically correct culture trying to be assimilated into it. There's been a lot of controversy with localizers who are doing the translations about them mistranslating things to make them more politically correct for at least for the English audiences. So now that Japan seems to have had quite the election where it seems like they want to turn things back politically in their country. Do you guys see a change coming, even though it might be slow, in anime manga? Is it going to turn back to the classics we loved in the 80s and 90s? Is it going to be something new? And is Japan just going to start making shows and comics and whatnot for their own domestic audience and turn inward as opposed to outward again? Where do you guys think we're headed?
I'm just going to tap out saying I have no idea about manga or anime or anything. But so I'm just going to mention this and then drop out because I've got no. But if there's money to be made, they'll keep selling to the West. That's my guess.
Yes. Yeah, well, for sure they'll keep selling to the West, but traditionally it's been like an afterthought. Like, okay, we made our money here in Japan and we'll make gravy on selling foreign rights to the work, as opposed to now there's this push like, oh, you have to make this acceptable to Western audiences, which means it changes a lot of the concepts in the writing. And anime's been like sort of on a down streak for the last 10 years. There's been some good stuff, but not nearly as much as it was. Sorry, Dungeon Delver, you were going to say?
No, I was just going to say the problem as I see it is manifold in the anime being Westernified. The right people, by which I mean the wrong people, have the ear of companies like Visa and MasterCard and PayPal and whoever, in that they've said they're showing a keyhole, they're showing just a narrow slice and saying, look what people are spending, are using your processing systems to pay for. And of course, that makes them pivot and lean on Japanese studios manga, anime, and video games. And because they're, just a bunch of corporate idiots that don't know what they're handling. They just know that money comes out of it periodically, and they want they want line go up all the time. They don't care, just line go up. But the push, then when they turn around and say, okay, what do we do with this? You say line go up, cartoon boobies bad, is it then falls into the hand of a bunch the same screechy people who ruined comic books, the same screechy people who are ruining video games and ruining TTRPGs, except in anime and manga and video games, they're localizers, they're voice actors, they're translators, and they come in and they purposefully change the art, by which I mean the written word, in the anime and the manga and the video games. They purposefully change it to fit certain things. There's a very famous example. You guys can Google this up. I didn't know we were going to go fully down this road, or I would have had it to hand. But in an anime, there's a character. In the original, a friend compliments her on her outfit, and she says back to her, yeah, I think boys like sexy stuff like this. And the dub, she responds to the person, well, I'm just doing everything I can to fight the patriarchy. And the response from the localizers is that, well, we're localizing. What they're saying in Japanese doesn't translate one-to-one to English. It doesn't there's no English word for this or that phrase. There's jokes and slang and stuff that they say in Japanese that won't resonate in the West. And that's a lie. What they're doing is they're changing it to suit their own agendas, and there's never a more resonant example than the one that I'm citing. If you guys just out there audience wise, just do a little Googling, you'll see what I'm talking about. And it's part of the long march through art and pop culture. It's about enshittification, it's about demoralization, it's about saying, oh, there's one thing over here that people might find joy in. We'd better crush it down into the gray paste. We had better Harrison Bergson that as quickly and as violently and as strongly as we can to make sure that you don't have even a little bit of joy that you thought you might. So we're just gonna tighten down on that, and we'll get Visa and MasterCard to do it for us.
Yep.
And that is the state of manga and anime. Fortunately, the Japanese are kind of rising up, and they're saying, you know what? No. If you don't get our comic books, if you don't get our anime, if you don't get our video games, if the translation's a little too oblique, we're just then our cultural material isn't for you. Then it's not for you. Go read an American comic book, play an American video game, watch an American cartoon. And of course, this is set that crowd of pop culture vultures screeching when people won't kowtow. And it's hopeful to hear some Japanese studios standing up and saying, well, then maybe our stuff's just not for you, and we're just going to keep making it. Unfortunately, more studios than not have actually started to cave. So you started to see artistic diversity is beginning to suffer. Now, Yang, you mentioned it's been in a decline for a while now. I personally think it has. If you go back and you look, when I was just kind of dipping my toes into anime and manga in the 80s and 90s, I mean, just what do you want? You want samurai stories, you want espionage, you want romance, you want giant robots. We got plenty of giant robots, science fiction.
I would
World
like
War
some.
II,
I would like some romantic giant robot samurai stories, please.
There are some. I'm sure there are.
Yes, there are some. there are absolutely one. Grandizer, I think, is right up your alley.
There you go.
But no, there was a lot of stuff. And now when I look at the field, it's either like cutesy schoolgirl stuff or almost like video game fight. Like, we're gonna fight, and then I'm gonna spend 3 episodes or the next 3 issues powering up, and then we're gonna fight again, and then I'm gonna spend the and it just kind of goes on and on and on like that in a loop, and it never really changes and it never really advances. I mean, I very much enjoyed My Hero Academia for a few seasons, and then I realized nothing's changing.
Yeah.
It just the main character, Deku, is like, they do a few animated speed lines over his face for 5 minutes while he has this internal monologue about he doesn't think he's strong enough to punch the bad guy, and then he punches the bad guy, and then the 5-minute outro song comes on. You get like 11 minutes of actual show that has maybe 300 animated frames in it, and then and it was just repeating that over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I think that's largely infected the entire thing. That's not to say that there aren't still great titles out there. Freerun, Attack on Titan,
Delicious,
but I
in
think
Dungeon.
unfortunately, Delicious in Dungeon. But I think those are getting lesser and lesser. So unless you go back with a vested title that started a long time ago and is continuing on today, Berserk. I think if you went back and you started reading like 5 a day of I've gone completely blank. This is so embarrassing. But we'll go with Berserk, unless you go back and start reading multiple episodes of Berserk, where you will never run out of story to read. Picking up something new, brand new today, you're gonna be kind of disappointed. Anyway, Unto
like
Excess. No, heavy metal's not anime. Heavy metal is European American.
And it's interesting. There is some debate over that. Yes, the word in Japanese anime really is just short for animation. So technically, kind of, sort of, it means just like we would say cartoon. However, anime in more common parlance is Japanese style animation.
Yeah.
So I think the answer is no.
Yeah, we wouldn't have kept the word. We would have just said animation otherwise.
Yeah, and it's like manga are not comic books. The format is comic books, but you wouldn't roll into Yellow Submarine in Akihabara and say, "Yeah, y'all got any comic books in here?"
It's not a comic book. It's a graphic novel.
It's a graphic novel, Dad, and it's very serious. Yes, it's supposed to be read right to left, Dad. That's how it is. The one thing I absolutely love is I've got an art book by Masamune Shirow, who and it was published in Japan, and he has Japanese and English. Like he for captions for the art pieces in the book, he's got English and Japanese, and it's saying the same things. But he does point out in the intro to the book that yes, this book is printed so it reads left to right. Left to right is easier. He says it's literally just easier to go left to right when you're reading. So that's how we had the book laid out. I think that's hilarious that like one of Japan's premier visual artists in that field was like, yeah, no, left to right's easier. Like he just bucks 5,000 years of tradition, and it's like, no, it's guys. The West has got it right. It's left to right is the way to go. Conan versus Elric. Stephen Kennedy asking there. Here's the thing. Elric was invented because Michael Moorcock read a Conan story and was absolutely disgusted by what he found to be like all this horrible sexism and violence and that sort of thing. So he created literally the photo negative of Conan, this weak, spindly guy who couldn't do anything without like huge amounts of spells and chemicals, and then Stormbringer to suck out people's souls and keep him energized. And he literally wanted to create a photo negative of it. So when people say Conan or Elric, I laugh at Michael Moorcock, but Elric is a compelling character. But if you ask me which one that I wanted to read, it would be Conan every time, because Elric does nothing but whine ceaselessly. Elric will not shut up about how bad things are for Elric. Conan, on the other hand, is like, that sucked. Let's go do something else. You know, that's literally Conan.
So Elric is basically Luke Skywalker before he meets Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I was going to go to Tashi Station to pick up some power converters.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So I'm giving it. Hey, JP God Rockets. By the way, if you guys are watching over on the Delver's Dungeon, or you're watching us over on X or what have you, please come and subscribe over at Nerd Council of Doom on YouTube. We are slowly but surely increasing our power base. So thank you all if you will tune in over there.
Yes, at the Nerd Council of Doom.
At
over on
the Nerd Council of Doom. Yes.
So Michael Dale asks, where does the term comic book come from? From comic strips in newspapers, and because they were little drawn strips of comedy. When it went full book, then the name just carried over. Well, actually, the common name for comic books was actually funny books, and that's what most people called them. Well into the 30s and 40s.
No, they're not terribly funny. I guess they were funny when it was
yes,
a cat character. What was it? What's his name? Something Cats. Yeah. Or the Cats and Jammer Kids.
Oh, Cats and Jammer Kids. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so there had been political cartoons in newspapers for at least since the 1830s, 1840s here in the U.S. Far further back in European history, and kids liked them because they didn't necessarily have to read to understand them. So eventually they would have like little one-panel jokes, sort of like on a page in at least the late 1800s, sort of like a for kids portion of the newspaper, which is smart because that got them hooked on newspapers. And eventually they said like, hey, let's collect all this stuff and put it into one book for kids. And The Yellow Kid was the first comic book in the U.S., which 1880s, 1890s, I can't quite remember. And from there, you would have like certain collections, but then they sort of changed a little bit they weren't just one-off panels or pages. They became like, oh, well, we have 30 pages, 60 pages. Let's do stories that kids would like. And then they did that. As to when exactly it went to comic books, I don't know. I don't know if comic book was supposed to be like the graphic novel joke earlier, where comics were supposed to be like a more sophisticated version of funny books. It's hard to say.
Yeah, they're not terribly funny. I mean, we call them comic books today, but they're not like usually. I had a Donald Duck comic book when I was a kid, but other than that, they're not terribly funny. Hey, Superman got his head punched in. Whoa, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Which speaking of that, by the way, most people here in North America do not realize the depth and breadth of wonderful Disney comic books. Like, for sure, when I was young, I had like I guess it would have been a graphic novel of a bunch of old black and white. Like, one was Mickey, but another one was like a Donald Duck that had Scrooge McDuck and the kids in it before DuckTales came out. But over in Europe, like, oh my gosh, they're making amazing books with those old, like Mickey and Donald and Goofy and everything. They have them going on adventures. They have them doing all sorts of things. I don't know why those aren't available here. They have books that are perfectly appropriate for 5-year-olds, for 8-year-olds, up to probably around like 10. And for whatever reason, they just won't sell them here.
That's a great question. I have no idea why they won't. And you're absolutely right. I mean, for years, now I know that I have seen omnibus collections, but they were typically sold as coffee table books. They're not something that you would buy a 10-year-old. Like, here you go. Here's a 25-pound book that costs $300, full of Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse and Goofy comics. Oh, and the tone is very serious, and it's almost like Indiana Jones. Yeah, you're not going to do that. But you're right. Those were commonly available strips. I mean, my local newspaper when I was a kid in Gadsden, Alabama, our local newspaper, the Gadsden Times, ran Donald Duck comic strips, and they were adventure strips. I mean, yeah, there were funny bits in them, but they were they were very much adventuring kind of, the Bowery Boys had 45s and were looking to do harm.
Yeah, but one of my ex-girlfriends bought me, I don't know, she thought I was really, really, really into Peanuts, the comic strip. And I like Peanuts. It's a great comic strip. She got me, though, a set of the early strips. Apparently, they came out with a whole bunch of these boxed sets of 2 huge, thick books in.
Yeah, I remember when those rolled out.
Yeah, she and they sat on the shelf forever. And finally, I thought, well, I mean, they're not doing any good, so I gave them to the boys. I mean, they're looking awful now. They're all ratty, but at least someone's reading them.
Yeah.
My favorite Peanuts comic it's very early, and it's 2 kids sitting on a curb, and you can see Charlie Brown coming, and one of them says, well, "Here comes Charlie Brown." And the next panel, "Good old Charlie Brown." And then he's right by them. Yep, good old Charlie Brown. And then he's past. How I hate him.
Yes,
perfect. How I hate him.
Yeah, yeah, man, those early Peanut strips, those were
such angst.
Peanut strips in general. Oh yeah. I mean, that when I was a kid, man, Snoopy Come Home, that broke my heart.
Oh, we had that. That was Snoopy, that was on repeat at our house, and I couldn't get that darn song out of my head.
Snoopy was not Charlie Brown's dog at first, and he very much carried a torch for somebody else, and yeah. Well, we've kind of wandered far afield all of a sudden.
Just a quick question from the audience: are there any comic books whose hero is a priest?
If there is, please let me know.
Daredevil became a priest at one point. Matt Murdock became a priest. I don't know how he did that without the years of schooling to become a priest, but I guess if you can beat people up by the sound of hearing, you can skip a few years.
Threatened the bishop is what he did.
Yeah, exactly.
I know where you live.
Yeah. There is a nice series. I can't think of the name. It's by the woman who wrote Rama One Half and Inuyasha. It's not about a priest. It's about a nun and a boxer. And the boxer is like
Half Pound Gospel. I know exactly
yes.
I know exactly the manga you're talking about. It is charming. It is very, very, very sweet. I'll let you have the talking stick, but yes, it is a very, very sweet story.
No, that's basically it. It's like not really a love story like we would consider a love story, but basically the boxer is going through a lot of problems, and the nun sort of helps him out, and it's sweet. There's nothing else to say besides that. And does the priest in Trigun count? Wolf, what is his name? Wolfowitz? Is he really a priest though, or is he more of a paladin? It seems like when you're killing people with a machine gun that looks like the cross, you're probably crossed into paladin territory.
That's like 40% of my day. Yeah, that's like 40% of my day. Just endlessly killing people with machine guns shaped like a cross. That's all I do.
There's a comic book called Priest. Okay, I don't know. I'm not familiar with that one.
Not familiar with it.
So, speaking of anime-like things, Dungeon Delver, I believe you had something else to bring up.
Oh, yeah. So this popped up on my radar real recently. And Yang, I think you have it to hand there. I can't I can't get but there is a there's an anime that you can watch exclusively on I think the guy's got a YouTube channel, but I know it's on X, but it's on those two formats. It is called PsyOp Anime, and this guy has started making 80s and 90s style hyper violent political thrillers set in the real world, and he's doing it entirely with AI prompts. PsyOp Anime, it has to be seen to be believed, but it literally looks like something that would have come out of Studio Gainax back in the mid to late 90s. It's very topical. Now, I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. If you have strong feelings one way or the other about your politics, you may find PsyOp Anime offends those. You may find it affirms those. But Yang, if you want to put that panel there, the one that's top center, just put that full screen just to kind of show off the level of the acumen this guy's got.
Okay.
Now you had said it was done entirely with AI, but that's the visuals, because he actually is using voice actors, correct?
Yes, he is using he has gotten a retinue of Japanese voice actors. Like that one that's on the center right now is about the apprehension of Nicolas Maduro. There's the current president. World War III is the title that he's got going now. And yeah, I mean, just take a look at it. And this is all AI prompt stuff that the guy has done, and it's visually, it is just stunningly brilliant. I I can't say enough for how talented this guy is as far now, again, we can make the argument about, well, you know, is AI really art or what have you, but I mean, dude has accomplished some pretty amazing stuff in a pretty short amount of time. But yeah, it's psyop anime over on Twitter, and I think his longest running feature he's got right now runs about 18 minutes. So it's not like, well, okay, it's a bunch of 5-second clips
Right.
just interspersed together. He's got an entire episode plotted beginning to end. So
Well, whether you think that the AI generated animation is art or not, the editing process is an art. So to have taken that raw material and then tied it together, and
Yeah.
you know, because he's got a, I mean, I play with AI as a toy. I don't, you know, but don't do anything serious with it. But if my experience is, you get, you know, and I'm just working with the Grok AI that you get for free, a 6-second clip. Obviously, he's got something that can produce longer, but there's bits of it you can't use that wouldn't be useful. If you tried to tie it into a larger thing, you'd have to really work to get that. So that's, I mean, it's an accomplishment, because it's an accomplishment to edit it all together.
Yeah, and the thing is, whoever this guy is, psyop anime, this person or his crew, they clearly have traditional media skills, because most of the problem with AI slop is that people are like, oh, I can make pretty images now, therefore my stuff is art, which isn't necessarily the case. There are still rules about how people consume media. And whoever this is, they really seem to understand those rules and to be able to, how would I say, work within a natural frame of how do I get people to consume the things that I am putting out. And they really seem to understand it and make whatever the topic is palatable. Like this one is about, people keep saying the US government is going to announce that aliens are real. So this was the one it's frozen on was a animated thing for that.
Yeah. And by the way, yes, it is on YouTube at psyop anime. So if you guys there's no affiliation here. I just thought it was very interesting. And again, this guy is putting stuff out very, very quickly, and it is very biting. It is very socially now. So yeah, I'm not saying you should get your news from psyop anime, but if you want kind of an interesting take on it, you can definitely check it out. I just thought it was
well, to me, this is really an evolution in the infotainment arms race, where, you know, we were talking about comic books and where they came from and how they came from political cartoons. Political cartoons were things that anybody could potentially make, although you really needed someone with a little bit of art skill to make them. You could, back in the day, you know, each big city would have 5, 6, 7, 10 newspapers of, you know, daily, weekly, whatever. So there were places that you could see these kind of things. The difference here is now with AI, for better or for worse, the tools to create very professional looking product have never been more accessible to the average person. And with the internet, it's never been easier to disseminate whatever your thing is. So is psyop anime really some sort of governmental psyop from some government or some NGO? Or is this just some dude who, you know, likes to make this stuff, had a little money for voice actors? I don't know, but it makes it a very interesting time to be alive when somebody from, you know, the middle of nowhere in the Amazon can create stuff that can influence people politically and whatnot.
Yeah. Unquestionably. There's one thing I want to address real quick. Agile Monk out in the audience saying, I am a no AI writing and no AI artwork in my TTRPG products. And that's excellent. Saying that I think PsyOp anime is brilliant is not an endorsement of let's just go all in and just AI everything. I'm not that guy. This, I think, in PsyOp Anime's case, I think it's an appropriate use of the tool. I mean, if you wanted to design a politically astute, biting social commentary about literally events that are happening right now, 30 minutes in an anime style, you simply couldn't do it. I mean, even if you went out and said, I have Elon Musk money and I'm going to hire a warehouse full of Japanese animators to do, there is quite literally not enough processing time to make that happen, no matter how hard you want to go. And for a small creator, it would never happen at all. I am saying with what he has done, I think it's cool. I would never just broadly say, well, screw it. Obviously, people can do that. So let's just have people prompt for visual entertainment and that sort of thing. I think it's awesome that your AI or that your TTRPG products are AI free.
Yes. And there has been some history to this. There was a company that I believe was called Apple Media that they were, I think originally they were from Hong Kong, and then they had to move over to Taiwan that would produce anti-CCP stuff all the time. That would be anti-Chinese Communist Party propaganda. And they would do like a new episode every week. And it had people in mocap suits, and it had a large number of a relatively, well, I shouldn't say large. It wasn't a very large staff, but it looked like there were at least 20 people working on their stuffs. So it's not that this kind of thing has not existed before. It's just that it's easier to make it better than ever. The stuff that Apple was putting out was it looked like The Sims. You know, it was that kind of quality of animation. So
wasn't there something from the Chinese government, or was it the North Korean government that would take news stories and explain them to their audience using little cartoons?
Oh, that's everywhere in Asia.
Okay.
Japan has that. Like in Japan, when you're watching the legitimate nightly news, like if it's a story about Kim Jong-un, they'll have like a little cartoon guy who's like riding a rocket that flies across the screen. China does that.
It's a very weird culture.
Yeah.
China does that all the time. They'll explain it with graphics like that, which jarringly would often come on after the 4:30 traffic report, where they would show videos of like accidents and like bodies burning from people who like didn't know how to drive. It's like everything for your driver's ed class, like right on TV at 4:30 in the afternoon. But in Asia, for some reason, that's more acceptable than we would consider here in North America.
Whatever, man. JP Got Rock says you're looking at thousands of drawings and a lead time of 18 months for traditional animation techniques.
Yep.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
And that also does bring up the question, people need to become more and more media savvy. Like you need to understand that PsyOp anime is somebody's political view that they're pushing. And I mean, I think it's not very disguised, but as we go forward, it's going to be more and more subtle. And, if you are unable to pick up on what's somebody's political view or what they're trying to scam you with to get money out of you, you got to be media literate.
Yeah, it's a sad truth.
It is.
But it's exciting and frightening.
My wife says, in about a year, you're not going to be able to believe anything you see online.
I already don't.
Yeah.
Um,
And her other one is, if you woke up schizophrenic today, how would you know?
Yeah.
How would you know?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of things and psyops, and computer technology, I don't know. Is this a good time to bring up the woeful state of
Yes.
entertainment electronics, of any electronics? So if you've been living under a rock, all this AI has a price, and the price is not in just pure dollars of what a billionaire or a major corporation is going to pay for it. The price has rolled down on you, subject. And basically, what's going on right now? If you 8 months ago, I would preface this statement with, if you like building your own PCs, look out. It has rolled so far ahead. Now it's, if you want to buy a gadget, look out. Data centers for AI are gobbling up every computer resource as rapidly as they can be made. AIs run on mathematical models. While a central processing unit on a computer is really good at doing math, you know, that central processor also has to manage disk input output. It's got to watch a keyboard. It's got to manage a bunch of slots. It's got to manage memory access, that sort of thing. So if you can offload that to another chip, that's even better. Well, the chips that are really, 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 really good at doing math are graphics chips, because all they do is do vector math. That's all your CPU or GPU, graphics processing unit, on your video card does, is just vector math. You turn your computer on, it doesn't do hello world, it doesn't check on anything else. It just flips on and goes beep boop, I am handling display. Well, like I said, it's really good at that. AIs need a lot of that kind of compute power. So NVIDIA, they used to be a flagship company for gamers. I mean, if you go all the way back to the mid late 2000s, their first discrete GPUs, the GeForce 256, for example, they pitched it to gamers. It was in PC Gamer. It wasn't in PC Week. They pitched it to hi Doc the Butcher, good to see you, welcome. They pitched it to gamers. And that was the way it was for years and years. And starting about 4, 5, 6 years ago, when data centers started saying, wait a second, we can run discrete applications on video cards, well, on GPUs. NVIDIA said, so you're saying you guys just want to buy a bunch of GPUs, but you're not interested in video games? Cool, we'll just sell to y'all. And what that means is a company that wants to build $1 billion data center to process information, say AIs, they get first pick of the litter, you know. And retailers buying video cards in bulk, whether it's Canadian Tire, whether it's Micro Center, wherever, suddenly a good gaming card that was $399, $499 is now $1,500. But wait, it gets worse, because it's not just the GPUs whose prices are going through the roof. Video cards and motherboards and so on have memory on them, memory chips.
Right.
You guys at least understand the concept. It's a little candy bar length stick of RAM, or it's soldered directly onto your device, your phone, or whatever. The same data centers that are gobbling up GPUs as fast as they can have turned to storage, which includes RAM and solid state drives, and said, yeah, we'll just take all that too.
Right.
And it hit this past week. Now, most of us, I know you probably don't get too much into the weeds on nuts and bolts with computer stuff, Dungeon Minister, but I would
Power button.
wager power button, exactly. Your laptop, its internal storage is not an old spinning hard drive. It does not have a little platter inside that spins at high speed.
My laptop, no, but my tower, yes. I don't. My laptop
okay, all right,
can't handle my editing anymore, so I've got a tower. I do know enough how to stick RAM in, but only with your help.
Well, the flash storage that makes up modern storage devices now, because who wants a spinning hard drive? The fastest spinning hard drive is going to be yoinks slower than a slow SSD. The flash storage that makes up SSDs, all that's being gobbled up. So what do you do if you want cheap storage? Well, we can go crawling back to Seagate and we can buy a hard drive because hard drives are cheap. No, they're not. Because you see, the same data centers that have gobbled up CPUs and GPUs, and now RAM, have said, no, we need more. Seagate's entire production for 2026 has been entirely consumed by enterprise computing, AI data centers. So now the fallback, like, oh, okay, well, I'll just have a small solid state boot drive that just has Windows and a few key applications on it. But all my games and stuff, I'll get a nice 2, 3, 4 terabyte hard drive and keep my games and my video editing on that because that's cheap. That's just like $75, $80. Nope. The memory storage shortage, the CPU shortage is now the spinning platter hard drive storage shortage. So basically the PC hobby, if you're an enthusiast, I am to a degree. If you're one of those people who is like, yeah, I'm going to save, maybe you're just coming out of high school and you're going to save up all your money. I'll get a gaming rig. I'll get a gaming rig. I've got a few $100s. I'll carefully curate parts. Nope, you're hosed. Oh, okay, well, screw that. I'll get a Steam Deck. No, those aren't available right now. There's a production backlog because they use RAM and flash storage. Okay, well, how about a PlayStation 6? No, Sony has already said they've been delayed 2 years because of RAM and storage shortages, or GPU and storage shortages.
And if Sony's having trouble, like if Sony can't source
exactly,
yeah, it's not like
exactly.
Bob's Computer Shop or something.
The entire electronic entertainment hobby has now been completely enshittified. The direction that they're going is, well, if you can't get a high-end PC to play games on, what if you just had a little terminal and you just played the games and they're on our cloud server, huh? We run the game. You don't have to worry about it. We'll run the game. You'll own nothing. You'll be happy.
Yeah.
And so now it's exactly, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Okay, I want to mod Fallout. I want to mod the next Elder Scrolls game. I don't particularly like this character's voice, this character's model, whatever. Oh no, see, that's against terms of service. We don't like that mod.
All your base are belong to us.
All your base are belong to us. I can get more. I can get more gameplay. Somebody's created more missions. Yeah, no. Oh, and that game you bought, yeah, we're turning that off anyway. Yeah, we don't really want to keep that game active anymore. So we're entering the dystopia for a desktop PC and hell, console and handheld
Oh no, they got
and
to him.
phone enthusiasts.
They got to him. They turned off his video feed.
Uh-oh. Can you guys hear me okay still?
Yep.
Yeah, so far.
Okay.
Well, graphics
All right,
are disabled.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
tech is on. Big tech.
Speaking ill of Nvidia, shut down his PC. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can get this settled again, guys. Yeah. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
Well, the large black bar in the middle of the screen seems to have opinions. Do you think people will just delete a ton of apps and programs to keep their old PCs running with minimal apps?
Yes.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, that's what I did to try to get to keep Windows 98.
Yeah, and I think, although I think part of this is not just this current problem, I think that there is an economic milieu, at least here in North America, where people are trying to hold on to, phones and computers and laptops and whatnot longer than they normally would. My wife is still rocking her MacBook 2010, so we got 15 years out of it so far.
That's good. Well, at first I thought that we'd gotten the feedback, but Bill was gone. Yeah, he does seem to have a target on him though. So don't write off big tech yet.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't have any sound.
Now there's no sound. It's video or sound.
There we go. How about that?
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
So there was a question, Bill. Do you think people will just delete a ton of apps and programs and keep their old PCs running with minimal apps?
I think given the enshittification that's happened with Windows and the relatively light footprint you can get out of Linux, I think we could see just that advanced fantasy games, because Windows is so awful. It is so look. I bitched about Windows 10 and the flat Metro UI. I bitched about Windows 8 and 8.1 and the flat Metro UI. I bitched about Windows Vista because of the UAC, the user access control issues. I bitched because Windows XP was an open sore until they finally got a decent service pack out for it. But this is, I mean, there's patch Tuesdays rolling out that are literally bricking people's machines from Windows. I cannot emphasize strongly enough, guys. If you're out there, look, I bought a refurbed laptop for my birthday. I got it from Amazon. It was a Dell. It was $200. And it was like, well, it comes with Windows 11. And thank God it was just new enough that Dell still offered an image you could download and just roll Windows 10 back onto it. And I did that immediately. So it was all the drivers, everything I needed. Guys, if you are buying new gear, find out if your manufacturer offers a rollback to Windows 10. Please, please, please. It is Windows 11 is a virus. Windows 11 is malware.
Yeah.
Don't use Windows 11. I cannot emphasize strongly enough. Go Linux. Go buy a Mac if you have $9,000 to spend on a desktop rig, or $4,000 to spend on a laptop.
I was actually in Costco looking at a Mac Mini, which seemed perfectly serviceable for like $400.
Yeah. It is $900 Canadian though. So
well,
yeah. But how many gallons of syrup does that equate to, Padre? How many gallons of maple syrup?
the Canadian economy is getting there. It's just going to be barter, right? It's like, I got some old hockey sticks. What do you want those?
In Canada, do they have syrup cooling for heat dissipation?
Well, the great thing is you put the syrup through the syrup cooling system. It comes out warm. You put that on your pancakes and your waffles.
Nice.
It doesn't, because otherwise
there
you
you
get
go.
Waffle, which is a heat sink to start with, right? Like it's no better way to dissipate heat than a waffle. And then you pour cold syrup on it. Not good. Not good.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, it's bad in desktop PCs, and it's getting worse. And they're gonna. again, this is just like, oh, well, why don't you just run a virtualized console and you can just have a little terminal home, and that way you don't have to worry about it. It's going to be the same with the OS. You're just going to run a networked OS. Yeah, don't worry about your PC crashing. We're going to handle that. You're just going to, and you're not going to own anything.
The master.
Okay, well, I want to
program.
store my, yeah, I want to store my documents locally. Yeah, you can't do that. Well, you can't give me a USB slot on the side of the computer? Nah. And if you try to add one, we can sue you because you don't own that. You rent it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been baked into Apple's service agreement with their iPhone forever. They've just flat out said, and for years and years and years, the Federal Trade Commission backed them up and said, yeah, no, if you buy that iPhone and you open that box, you're agreeing with their EULA. Now it was an incredibly shitty thing. It may have changed. I don't know. If someone out there in the audience knows, maybe pop in. But yeah, you open the box, you've agreed to the EULA. And part of Apple's EULA was your phone is not your property. Your phone is our property. You're renting it from us, and we can do whatever we want to with it. Imagine that in your laptop and your desktop PC forever. And you've got something, you download a PSYOP anime, and there's a there's a body in the government that decides that's no bueno. And don't tell me this is some insane rambling on my part. There are people arrested and investigated in the UK for saying things on Facebook and on Twitter. And they've said it. They're proud of it. If you tweet what we deem as hate speech, we will arrest you. You will be investigated. It's bad. It is so bad right now on a computing front. So I'm sorry, rant off. That's what I had to say about that.
Good stuff. Crown Royal's no longer sending out dice bags for their whiskey bottles.
That's how you know it's a tough economy.
I swear they should put like a QR code on the back of the bottle that goes to an online dice roller or something, just to save money.
Yeah.
And you know what the hell of it is? I have reached out to Crown Royal, and I know thousands of other nerds probably have. They are completely just like just like oh, okay, well, we've never heard of such a thing. Yes, there are many things you can do with a Crown Royal dice bag. Why have they never embraced that?
I don't
Gen
know.
X, the people who started playing D&D, we're hitting the age where we want a glass of Crown Royal next to us. It's not kids.
I know. They should do like the old cereal box and G.I. Joe thing where if you get proof of purchase of so many bottles of Crown Royal, they'll send you like a really nice dice set.
That'd be
one
good.
of their bags.
That would be such a killer crossover. That would be.
You know how many old grown
organic.
We'd be swimming in this stuff. We actually had the money to buy a Crown Royal.
Imagine a Crown Royal bottle, it like a nice decanter. The topper for the stopper is a crystal D20.
Oh. Yeah, that would be nice.
So somebody in marketing over
topper,
there.
And the topper for it is a D20.
They gotta get their act together.
I know, but they act like it is the most bizarre alien, like you've asked them to like stand on their heads and do the hokey pokey with their hands when you say, yeah, I use your. It's like, guys, this is literally. When I was in elementary school, my first dice bag was a Crown Royal bag.
I didn't even know anyone who drank Crown Royal, and somehow I had one. I don't know where I got it. I can't remember where I got it. It was 30, 40 years ago, but I had one.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Buster says, still have 3 Royal bags with full of dice sets plus one Cavassier, is that it? Brothers Chivas.
Chivas.
Royal blue bag of really nice dice sets. I mean, this is somebody really needs to write a Crown Royal module.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
it's right in the name. You are trying to find the royal crown. The royal crown has been stolen, and the guards were found intoxicated.
Yeah, and
for those of you, I was just going to say, for those of you who might not know, that is the Chivas bag. Yang, I shared that up. If you guys want to see that, that is.
Oh, that's me. Here we go.
In case you were curious, there you go. Yeah, that's a good looking die bag.
There you go.
But
yeah, I love that idea.
Oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say I love the idea of write a module. You're seeking the royal crown.
Yeah. And the royal crown has a formula in it to make the world's greatest liquor, which makes everyone appear hot when you consume it.
and you've got and there's a magical bag full of rocks that will decide fortune. Those rocks will decide your fortune, and you have to throw the rocks and find your fortune, and then you can move on. And
yeah, and the more you drink, the better your fortunes. I
say my dice bag is this little thing because I just have the one set of dice.
Nice.
I never went goblin, but
wait, what?
Ohio has a
Ohio has a weird state-run liquor distribution system, and they remove the bags before putting the bottles into distribution. Oh my God!
And then the state makes a mint selling those at conventions.
Exactly. The state opens up a booth. I mean, Ohio is not that far from Indiana. They can go up to Gen Con on a weekend and just open a booth and do it on the taxpayer's dime.
Son of a gun. I knew there was corruption in Ohio. Gentlemen, that must be our mission for the next month.
To buy a lot of Crown Royal? What?
It works. I have 3 dice bags, Dr. David Howard. Yes, I actually have a non-blue. It's from a winter caramel. Actually, let me grab it real quick. I'll show it off. Hang on.
We have at my church, the collections come in the plates, and then they're taken from the church itself over to the offices for the counters to count in a Crown Royal bag.
Nice.
And I know precisely where that one came from because we have a parishioner who is very big on a drink or two.
Excellent.
Yeah, I always find it funny though. This Crown Royal bag, it looks like they're heading off to play D&D. Do a little role playing game with the treasurer over in the office.
Oh, nice. Buster says, my brother used to run warehouses for MGM properties in Las Vegas. He got bags like crazy, and we sold them.
Nice. Look at that little winter theme.
Yeah,
that's when Santa plays D&D.
Yeah, it's a little caramel.
Why is it me?
Yang's having fun with the. There we are.
By color comparison.
Yeah,
I have a tiny Crown Royal blue bag that also has dice in it. But yes, that is correct. You get them different colors for different flavors.
Do you know what another good source of dice bags are? And do I have any I can reach? I don't think I do. They're all buried. Now I say it goods. Oh, here they are. Here they are. This is for the people, unlike me, the people who really, really like their dice collecting. You can get these sweet guys. Drawstring, usually velvet, pretty nice, different colors. Funeral homes. if they don't want the bag that the urn comes in.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that.
Hey, sorry about Grandpa, but did you want
Are
that?
you using that?
Yeah, I have this big Tupperware container dice at my house that would go good at. See, I was thinking he was gonna say like, "Oh yeah, these are gift bags from Amazon." No. Oh,
Although that's another good source. Although they got the Amazon logo on them. Although these often say the name of the funeral home on them.
there was a period a couple of years ago when Amazon, you could get their stuff sent to your house gift wrap, and it did come in a very nice cloth bag, like actual
I got
cloth
something
or
this
velvet.
Christmas. I got something this Christmas that way. Nice little bag.
They have switched to kind of almost a recycled fibrous kind of feel. It's still very festive holiday looking, but the text, it's not something I like. To me, a dice bag needs to be pliant, and these are very kind of stiff. Buster says, dude, that might cause a few ones to come up in your. I would say more than that.
Well, it's tough when you're playing the fighting the undead. It's a bit of a challenge because they home turf advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, this really seems like it's been a 50-year marketing miss for TSR and Wizards of the Coast. And
come on.
Also, Crown Royal, you easily could have done paid sponsorship in the D&D movie. You could have had them all drinking Crown Royal. You totally screwed that up.
And then fighting over who gets the bag.
Yeah.
The Hugh Grant character would have taken the bag. He's sneaking off with it at the end.
That's really what it should have been about. It should have been like a scroll to resurrect his dead wife. It should have been who got the bag.
Yeah. Well, I think probably no, I was just going to mention, I think probably that at some point somebody's like, hey, we could cross promote. Oh, well, that ultimately that's a children's game, and we don't want to really be perceived as trying to sell booze to kids. And then the flip side, TSR is, hey, we could cross promote. Oh, yeah, no, ultimately we don't want to be seen as. I mean, TSR had gotten enough trouble from the Satanic Panic crowd. Can you imagine them, the same people being teetotalers going after him for, you're trying to sell alcohol to children? Oh.
I mean, if I were Crown Royal, I would pay them to insert Crown Royal on a random table of alcohol that you would get in taverns that would appear in every edition. How much would they really charge?
That would be beautiful. It's just a hint, a subtle. It would even look good in the modern D&D artwork.
Yeah,
it would look, it would blend in nice, would look classy in the background. It would do well.
Sure, on a table with tacos and sushi, it'd be perfect.
In the coffee shop.
All right, gentlemen, I think we are perhaps nearing the end of our monthly meeting. For anyone who has not, go subscribe to the main Nerd Council of Doom channel. It is youtube.com/@thenerdcouncilofdoom.com. Give us a thumbs up. If you're watching over on the Delvers channel, then give him a thumbs up. What are you doing? And we will see you guys next month, unless there's any other current business.
I did want to mention just before we step out, we did lose Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall passed away this past week. And even if you only are inured in genre stuff, of course, he started an episode of The Twilight Zone. He was the titular character in George Lucas's excellent and frankly very underrated THX 1138. And he was also in the not the Stepford Brides, Bill, the what The Handmaid's Tale. He was so just off the top of my head, 3 science fiction productions that Duvall was in. I mean, I cannot easily say what we would be here for another 2 hours just oohing and ahhing over Robert Duvall's incredible Titanic life of film and creation and art. 95 years old. That's a pretty
Good run.
good run, and he will be missed. He will be missed.
Right. And for anyone who is interested in help generating an AD&D 1E character, there are updates to the Crom system. Go check that out on the Dungeon Delvers channel. He's got a whole video from this past week detailing the improvements. So go check that out. Gentlemen, we will give the Delvers Ocular Sun configure array a little chance to work, and hopefully we will have a warmer meeting next month.
I'm going to be trying to thaw out the death lasers, so we'll get them operational.
Excellent.
Maybe by the next month.
All right.
And I will have the Wampa burgers ready.